contact shipments. Spot rate cargo Cape Ferris contract for government holding. Raise
What's he up to then?
He's testing out a new STOL. Slow landing device.
I know.
The inventor's in there.
Whiskey Papa. She's a real helicopter, Hugo. 4-5 knots. She's juddering. Wings level. She's rolling!
Well, I'm here. What happened? It's the locking device on the moving aerofoil section. It just won't work.
Well, it's the rig. I can fix it.
Sorry, Hugo. I've got a date in Deauville.
Yeah, but I could have it ready in a couple of days.
Fine, you do that. I'll read about it.
Come on, let's go. You're like an old Victorian lady. Oh. Who's your test pilot?
What?
He can fly. He's not a test pilot. He's a banker. Not mine. Not anymore.
Well, it's out of our hands now. This is a terrible thing to happen. We've been established here coming up 200 years. We're not just a firm, we're a tradition.
Yes, well, that's been your trouble.
Don't think you can take that line, Mr. Aitken.
But as you say, the problem's out of your hands and into ours. Good morning, Mr. Grimald.
What's that, then?
The bloody bank.
Isn't there any sign of it? Oh, they're waiting for you.
Right. What have I got?
11 o'clock, Mr. Mossbaker. He's the man with the colour copier.
It doesn't work.
Oh, and Mr. Shannon phoned.
Who?
Harry Shannon, he said he knew you.
Never heard of him.
How was your weekend?
Rough.
So I suggest we advise our client not to top the offer of 300 million and leave Cregan holding the baby.
Right, set it for there.
Sorry, Gerald.
Sit down, Tom. We've nearly finished. I'm glad you found it possible to join us.
I nearly didn't. Hello, Freddie.
Tom?
I took up Hugo Carter's STOL over the weekend. His what? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's no good.
Oh, would that mean another write-off for the new venture account?
It would, Andrew. Sorry, but it nearly roped me up.
May we, we may indeed. I expect most of you will have seen this morning's news about Grimbolds. Briefly, they've had to stop production, and they owe us £800,000.
How much? To be exact, 751,233.
I knew it was bad, but how did we get in that deep?
Well, there's a lot of history in this, Charles. They've been clients of the bank almost since time began, one of the chairman's pet concerns.
Well, I've spoken to United Warehousing. They've been on to us for finance for a big new distribution centre in the West Riding. I've pretty well persuaded them that Grimballs would give them all the space they need, save them £300,000, and net us £400,000 for the site and buildings.
Not bad.
The plant, of course, would have to go to auction.
Oh, we know what that means.
Yes, scrap prices, but the stock is more valuable. My figures show that we should come out with a loss of no more than £150,000 with reasonable provision for the other creditors.
Well, that's certainly more cheering.
Well done, David.
We own the firm.
Well, yes, 5 years ago, when Grimballs wanted more money, we took out a first charge on the physical assets.
The question is what to do with them.
Can't we throw them a lifeline?
Well, that would cost £500,000.
Oh, it's simply not on, Charles, not under the present management.
What does it need to be? I mean, couldn't one of the other carpet firms take it on? They've gobbled enough in that time.
No, I'm afraid not, Freddie. I've done the rounds there. The big ones are only too glad to see a competitor go under, and the small ones obviously haven't got the muscle. I mean, there's no doubt this mill has to close as a mill.
Well, gentlemen, that's the proposal. I'd be glad of your views.
This town, David, Casby, how big a place is it?
It's a small Yorkshire weaving town, and to take your point, Freddie, Grimballs were the largest employers.
Yes, that's what I was afraid of.
This scheme of yours, David, I suppose it looks after the workforce.
Well, United Warehousing could employ 200, not the skilled workers. They wouldn't need those.
How many are there, then, in Grimballs?
1,400.
Well, I'm not much on figures, but that seems to me like 1,200 people out of a job.
Yes. Well, fortunately, we're not responsible for redundancy payment.
Oh, great. Well, I mean, can we do this? It is 1,200 people.
It is £800,000.
Well, what I mean is, can't we put someone in who could use 1,200 people? I mean, it doesn't have to be a carpet maker.
Well, who would you suggest? A colour copier? A slow landing device? How about an electronic bicycle?
Oh, touche.
Tom has a point, you know, David. We own the mill. In a sense, we are responsible.
Bad management is responsible.
But we collect the odium.
We're well aware of that, Freddie. It won't look good in the papers. But what's the alternative? Well, the matter isn't closed.
We haven't much time.
I don't need to be told that, David. I think the best thing is for you to press on with your scheme and bring it up for final decision in, what?
1 week.
Very well. And thank you for your excellent work on this. Well, gentlemen, I think that's all, unless, Tom, hold on a minute, will you? Mark, I'd like to have a word with you briefly later on about this INT business, the treasurer being used more than usually excused by you. Freddie, nice to see our deputy chairman today. Are you for lunch?
Oh, by the way, I bought a new picture for the dining room.
Oh, no, you haven't.
Well, you must admit, Gerald, that my investments over the years have done at least as well as the bank's.
I'll give you about 11 now.
Right. David, I work.
Tom, you're a director of this bank, albeit a junior one. It's a privilege to attend our morning meetings and to be on time.
Sorry about that, Gerald. Actually, I had some bad weather on the other side.
And that's another thing. What the devil do you mean by risking your neck in an experimental aircraft?
Do you know any other way of testing it?
Yes. Pay somebody else to do it. You represent an investment to this bank. I don't intend it to be self-liquidating, right? Good. In which case, I've got something rather pleasanter for you. A little diplomatic chore, Tokyo. I'd like you to visit our office there.
What would I do?
Oh, shake a few hands, play some golf, generally show the flag. The chairman was out there last year. They appreciate these princely visits. You nothing special on your plate, have you?
Well, I thought I had.
Oh, yes, the risk venture business. Well, somebody else can take care of that.
Look, I thought you got me in here because you said there was a job I could do. Not because of my name. You made that clear. Now you want me to be a sort of flying family totem.
Horses for courses.
Well, I admit I haven't made a howling success at it.
No, you haven't, have you? To date, to the tune of £63,500 down the drain. Have you ever asked yourself why? Because it's all a game to you. Well, you don't play games with other people's money. Believe me, it's the most deadly serious thing you can do. In Japan, you can be moderately useful to me, and decidedly less expensive. Well, let me know. I can always make other arrangements.
How long for?
Huh?
Tokyo, how long will you be away?
6 weeks. Do you want some more? What's the matter? Isn't it good?
You always want reassurance. It was marvelous. You're a marvelous cook, and I've had enough.
6 weeks. Being rubbed down by geishas and showing the flag. In 6 weeks, it's liable to be a hell of a flag. What's the matter?
Nothing.
I want reassurance.
Well, you won't get it. Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it?
It's all important.
I mean, whether you go or stay, or go upwards or sideways or anything, does it?
I think you better lay off the plonk.
You just float.
What has got into you?
Nothing. Much. I've got to go.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your dinner.
I told you I had to. Hello? Yes, he's here.
Hello?
Oh, Mr. Prince? Oh, my name is Shannon. Harry Shannon. I tried phoning at your office. Grimbal's. I heard the bank's got it. Yes, I'd like to bid for it. I run a carpet mill in Casby, Shannon Carpets.
Well, I'm sorry, the matter's not in my hands.
Yes, I know. Mr. Aitken is secretary to me to write.
Well, he's the director in charge.
Yes, but you're Mr. Prince, aren't you? This is a proposition. I can save that mill. I need the capacity and I can use all the labor. I can do this, Mr. Prince. Can we talk?
What's your number, Mr. Shannon?
It's 246-8026.
I may phone you back.
Yes. Thanks.
Aiken. Oh, Tom. What's your pleasure?
I've just had a call from a character called Harry Shannon. I believe he's spoken to you also.
Shannon. Yes, some sort of name like that.
Deborah? Deborah? I'm sorry, David.
Find out anything about that?
Well, no, I didn't. It was pointless. I mean, there's always dozens of small fry like him nibbling about when the big one's gone under.
Well, he wants me direct. Wanted to do a deal, something about saving Grimbal's.
Well, I must say, he's got a nerve.
I finally got them down.
Well, I told him that I might phone him back. But obviously, I wanted to have a word with you first. I hope you don't mind.
Well, no, of course not.
Well, fine. Perhaps we could speak tomorrow?
Yes. Now, look, Tom, I'm sorry about the slight loss of cool this morning at the meeting. Well, it's just that I've done rather a lot of work on this, and
All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Tom?
Yes.
Something happened. You've got your calculating look again.
What's your opinion of Tom?
Me? Well, you know, I like him immensely.
Yes. Who doesn't? Charm? The purple? What's the popular word for it? Charisma? The name alone, Prince. How can you beat it?
Do you have to try all that hard?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, you think that's funny, don't you? Me, a professional, with more knowledge of banking in my left big toe. And there are, what, 20 other directors like me at Prince's, but he's the one I've got to mark. A bloody amateur. Who doesn't give a damn for what he's doing. And I don't mean that because his mother's a duke's daughter or his uncle's chairman of the board, the great Jerome. Or perhaps it is. Perhaps that's what comes of 6 generations of always being on top. I mean, I like him too, but my hackles go up a yard every time he comes into the room. I want to despise him. But I daren't. Because what I've got, he can get, but what he's got...
But you've just said he doesn't give a damn. He doesn't take anything seriously.
Yes. But suppose he started to.
Excuse me, I seem to be lost. Could you tell me the way to Barbican House?
Barbican House? Yes, it's that big tall block over there.
Thanks very much.
Finish it. Well, why don't you? You will do in the end.
You're sure of yourself, aren't you?
I'm better value. I know you, pussycat. You creep to the warmest corner. Finish it. I want you.
Sorry, it's a bit like a showroom. My wife's out. She likes the cinema. This is her place, really. I don't come here much. 4 days a week, I'm at the mill. I camp in bed at the office. The rest of the time, I'm my own salesman. Paris, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Dublin. Whiskey, brandy, it's all here.
Not for me.
Nor me. No time for it.
I shouldn't wonder. What do you use, wings?
Yes, too true I do. A Piper. I've been flying since I was 18. And that's how I saw you at Wickham Air Park, coming out of that row. This is my product, Mr. Prince. Do you know anything about carpets?
You put them on the floor?
Yes, well, these are made by my own process. I call it Fibrex. It's an Axminster with a polyester fiber base. I've got international patents on it, and I give them pet names. Like this is Tamara, Marie, Juanita, Lolita. It's corny, but it sells. And what you're standing on is Brenda.
Brenda? What's so special about, what did you say, Fibrex?
Yes. Well, it's not so much the product. I mean, they're as good as anything you can buy, but it's the way they're made. You see, an Axminster is expensive because of the handwork. And now, my looms are semi-automated, and I get the same product at 3 times the normal weaving rate. And that means 1/3 of production costs. And that means I can undersell any competition and still come out with a bigger profit.
Where's your snag?
Right. The volume. You see, I can only do this if I got the output. Now, I've got 2 Fibrex looms. That's all I've room for.
How many do you want?
Well, 4 to break even, but with 6, I start touching real profit. I've got it worked out. I can show you the figures. I know it'll work. I've got to go, my dear Mr. Prince.
If it's as good as that, why are you stuck?
Have you ever tried getting money out of a bank for something they call experimental?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Well, I've been to the finance houses. I could get $1 million from them at 25%, plus a share of the profits. Excuse me. Mother, have a nice evening. How's the film?
I didn't go. Della and her friends wanted to go to disco.
Yes, I expected you 2 hours ago.
Oh, you know what they're like.
Did they bring you back?
No, I left them there. I came alone. I took a taxi.
This is Mr. Prince. My wife, Brenda.
Hello.
Mr. Prince is from the bank. It's the Mr. Prince. He's come to look me over.
Brenda. I've a feeling we've met before.
The carpet. That was Harry's idea.
Yeah. She'd like to know where I got the rest of the names from, eh, lover?
I didn't know you were having a visitor. I'd have been here. Have you offered Mr. Prince anything?
No, it's all right. I was just passing.
I'll make some coffee.
Fine, coffee. That's great. Will you come and look at my mill, Mr. Prince? I can prove what I've said. I can show you my machines. And I've got the business. I've got letters, orders. I could walk into Grimball's and put in my own looms. And it's got everything else I want. And it's got space, finishing machines, dyers, winders, spinners. I can run that mill. Oh, will you come and look?
When?
Oh, what's wrong with tonight?
Tonight?
9. We'll just catch the midnight shift coming on.
Are you crazy? It's 250 miles by road.
Well, who said by road? Well, this is it. It's built in a wade loom. And to look at it, you wouldn't see any difference.
I wouldn't know what a wade loom was.
Well, this is one, and the difference is in here. How low's it running, Stan?
63.
I'll bunch it up to maximum. Well, these are the letters I told you about. The Barnet, you're in. Checopan, Prague. That's the State Housing Trust. Oslo. Brussels. I've been all over. I'm the original carpetbagger.
What are they, letters of intent?
Well, mostly, but not this one. Gershel. Frankfurt. And that's a firm order for 25,000 metre. For a delivery in 12 months. And I can't touch it until I get those extra looms. And that's why I need Grimball now.
Can I have these?
Yeah. Yes, I'll give you copies. You know, with those orders and my looms, I'm a golden investment to you, Mr. Prince. You just give me Grimballs.
And besides Grimballs?
$500,000.
But these are letters of intent. Only one firm order.
For 25,000 meters. He can run for 3 months on that.
And go bankrupt at the price he quotes.
Not on his machines. I've seen them. They work.
You're the expert on technology.
We can put in our own assessors. He spent 100,000 developing this process, his own money. Surely that's worth a hearing, isn't it? This man gives us a chance. I mean, look at it. Bank blamed for mill closure, questions in Parliament.
Turin, Frankfurt, Brussels. Why isn't he trying to sell here?
Because he wants to get a footing in Europe. Isn't that what we tell our own clients, to get in first, ahead of the competition?
Yes. Well, I've news for you. He is not trying to sell here because he can't. And I've checked my facts. He's a known wildcat. He's been in trouble with his own trade association for years, undercutting every sort of practice.
But he's alive. And we backed Grimbold a corpse.
He's being forced abroad because the others have closed ranks on him. And you're proposing to give him a mill worth £1 million and back him to the tune of another $500,000 on the strength of some fast talk and some fast machines. Why don't you stick to flying? I'm sorry, Joe, but I've spent rather a lot of time on this. I resent Tom crossing my wires.
Yes? Oh, yes. I'm afraid it's a hard world, Tom. And David understands it. George.
How are you? And all the little ones at the Treasury? Yes.
Cigars and sweet port. I must confess I'm an unrepentant, old-fashioned banker. Marshal, this is the dial 46.
Yes, Mr. Freddy. There's very little left, I'm afraid. Only a few bottles.
Our day's declining, Marshal.
I'm afraid so, sir. Will there be anything else?
No, thank you, Marshal.
There's more coffee if you want it, Mr. Tom.
Thank you, Marshal.
Lunch here is always a healing process, Mr. Freddy, Mr. Tom. In a way, that accounts for David and Gerald. New, hard men. When Gerald first came here, the year of the port, we were dying and didn't know it. Tradition, family, we hadn't had a new idea for a century. It was enough to be princes.
And blessings.
Gerald had to fight all that. And won, thank heaven. Otherwise we'd all be in the soup. One day I must tell you the epic story of his struggle with your Uncle Jerome. It is why our good chairman spends most of his time jaunting abroad out of harm's way. Gerald made princes, never forget that. From a privileged backwater into... Well, I don't suppose either of us knows the full size of it. Many problems. Not least, who's to sit in Gerald's chair in, what, 10 years from now? It'll have to be somebody as big. Take a look at the field. Charlie Flood. Brilliant, but too elegant. Mark, too fat. Anyway, much more concerned with his horses. Edward, he's just chair-warming. Expect to be Prime Minister one day. David. Well, the obvious front-runner, of course. Nothing to stop him unless... It's my guess that Gerald is looking at David very carefully these days and wondering whether perhaps we haven't lost something somewhere. Too machine-like. You can't run a merchant bank as though it were a computer. The spirit of our founders, that's what's missing. And it wasn't just port. Well, they were hard-headed enough, but adventurous. Your great-great-great-grandfather ran ponies with gold in their saddlebags through the French lines to pay Wellington's armies. My illustrious ancestor was a Jewish peddler from Hamburg who sold picks and shovels to the Californian miners. He had to fight Indians. And what are you afraid of? All you can lose is your scalp.
Thanks.
Yes?
Mr. Prince to see you, sir.
Well, send him in, will you?
I'd like to talk to you about Grimbles and Shannon.
Oh, I thought we'd settled there. Oh, we just had this cable from Tokyo. They're getting out the bunting for you.
Grimbles, Gerald.
Well?
I want you to hold up on David's scheme and give me 10 days.
To do what?
To run a technical check on Shannon's operation and a feasibility study of a takeover of Grimbles by Shannon.
I'm afraid you can't have it. Not 10 days.
How long, then?
I promised David our decision on his scheme by Monday.
Monday? All right.
Very well. Make your study. Have it ready for the directors' meeting on Monday. We'll examine it.
And promptly kick it out.
Well, what more do you want? A guarantee of acceptance in advance?
Yes, just that.
You're very rambunctious today.
If I decide the scheme's good, I want your promise to back it.
My dear boy, nobody gets that. And in case you're thinking of it, resignation's no threat. Not with me, Tom.
I'm not threatening to resign, but I am ready to go to the board over this.
Oh, no, you don't. This is a business matter. Nobody jumps over my head.
I can on this, because it concerns the bank's name, which, in case you forget, is mine, too.
Tom? I believe you're suffering from pique. David was a little hard on you.
The chairman's in Washington, isn't he?
Yes.
Shall we ask him?
He could say no. If he did, believe me, I'd chop you.
Let's see what he does say.
Yes, Mr. Franklin?
Nothing. Are you sure you know the chances, Tom? It's your career.
And make no mistake, that's what it'll be against what? One man. Not his machines or his track record. The man. Someone comes to you, out of the blue, with a scheme, wanting money. The 2 million of the bank's money. A man you don't know. Well, what is he? Can he be trusted? Is his word good? Does he drink, gamble, keep mistresses? What's he like in a tight spot? Will he keep his head? And why does he want money? Is he building a business? Or an ego? A wide boy after his first Rolls Royce? You don't know. And you never can, fully. And that's our risk. And why we're paid, and damn well paid, for being right. Well, 80% of the time. Well, it's your neck.
All right. It's a deal.
Good. You won't object to some help. A rundown on Shannon's business and a technical assessment. I think you'll agree that David's the best man for that.
But I make the decision.
Oh, yes. I promise you that.
Your air ticket
Where are
was
the
just...
copy letters from Shannon?
Well,
I
they're
want
in
them
the
telex
file.
to our offices in Rome, Frankfurt and Brussels. Who's the correspondent in Oslo?
I think it's Carl.
Find him, get them all on the line in that order. What's this?
Your air tickets to Tokyo.
Burn them and get me Shannon. Move, we're fighting the Indians.
Indians?
Come on, come on.
But you know what I think of this.
Yes. That's why you're doing it. I want Shannon's firm raked. Turn up everything, including the carpets.
You'll have your report in a week.
Oh, and David, I'm not necessarily looking for an adverse report.
I know what you're looking for, Gerald.
What was it?
The bank. Mr. Prince.
Are they going to do it?
Yes. I think so.
Clever, clever, Harry. Clever, Harry. You should never have accepted. And Gerald had no right to ask you. It's unfair, it's cunning. He's deliberately put you in an what am I trying to say?
Invidious is the word. An invidious position.
Yes.
Well, Gerald's rather good at that.
Well, you don't seem to mind.
Well, not as much as you have found it.
He must know how you feel about Tom.
I expect so. He knows most things.
Well, if you make this, whatever it is, report, if you say it's awful, that'll hurt Tom, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh, darling, don't you see it? It's like putting a knife in your hand and asking you to stab Tom in the back.
Well, just who are you worried about, Tom or me?
I'm worried about you. You can be very ruthless, David.
Remember animal behavior? When the big wolf attacks the little wolf rolls over, offers his throat, and that stops the big wolf dead. Sometimes. It depends how hungry he is.
What sort is he? He's a double first, economics and maths, Harvard Business School qualified accountant. If there's a hole in you, he'll find it. I wouldn't smoke either.
Come on, you're picking the holes now.
Yes, I found some beauties. Your letters of intent and the German order.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Nothing, I hope, since it's the only firm one you've got. And out of the other 5, 2 have bad credit ratings. You've been fishing in some dodgy waters. The Turin one's almost in liquidation.
You do business where you can. You get some bad pairs.
Not 2 out of 5. You take those odds with your own money, not ours. We're going to slim these profit forecasts by 20%.
What are you trying to do? Bust me before I start?
Well, that's the best time to go bust, boyo. And here's another buster. You can't even fulfill your German order, Gerschel, unless you've 2 more looms operating by December.
Right.
Right is what it isn't. There's a 2-year lag, I checked.
They're on order, they're being built.
Those looms cost £300,000. Suppose this deal falls through.
Then I'll be stuck, won't I?
Just for the record, chum, is there anything else you forgot to mention?
Hello, have you finished yet?
On the last lap.
Did you get my Nurisal?
I bought you a new bottle. Oh, I'm sorry, I left it in the car.
Oh, that's all right. I'll get it.
How long's he been like that?
Harry? It's just nerves. He gets cramps.
Well, should we see a doctor? Could be an ulcer.
You don't know Harry. He'd rather be dead. Has he left any cigarettes? One. You ought to have stopped him.
Has he always been like that?
Thanks. Like what?
Well, rushing around like a Chinese cracker.
Always? I wouldn't know, would I?
Well, you have been married to him for some years.
6. Are you married?
No.
I didn't think so.
It must be quite a strain. On you, I mean. Wouldn't it be easy if you both lived up north? You come from there, don't you?
You're different from my idea of a banker.
Oh? What's that?
Oh, fat and no hair and striped trousers and always sitting behind a desk. But you go out. I mean, you come and see Harry, not the other way round. That's because you can find out more about him that way. I mean, all that money you have to, don't you?
I wouldn't make much of a detective, would I?
I don't mind. I'd like to tell you about Harry and me. Do you know where we met? In the Zanzibar Club, Newcastle. I was what they call hostessing. We wore briefs and little ponytails and got £1 in commission on drinks. Nice class of people came there, you know, like out of hell for the day. Harry came in with a business client. He didn't drink, but he liked to gamble. I was told to look after him. They let him win first. That was the setup. I tipped him off. He was so...
I know.
Well, the manager guessed and that meant move. So we did, in his car, just as I was in his Mac. The 5th town we came to, we stopped at a hotel. Harry took a double room and told them we'd just been married. They believed that, with one bag and my ponytail sticking out of the back of Harry's Mac. And nothing happened, except that he got cramps. He spent all night apologizing and telling me he'd give me everything. He was going to be the biggest. Rockefeller wasn't in it. So the next day, he bought me some clothes and asked me to marry him. And I did. And nothing happened. Ever. So that's Harry and me, and why I sometimes don't come home by taxi. How's that for true confessions? Harry says he's going to make $1 million. Do you think he will?
I think he'd better.
You're like Harry a bit. You like taking chances, but you're different.
How?
If you wanted something, you wouldn't be nervy. You'd grab it.
If I wanted it.
Sorry. Got a bit knotted. All right now.
You'd better eat something. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, sure, fine. Thanks, lover.
Don't be too late, lover.
Well, what do you think of it?
Well, I'd like it better if we held a bit more of the equity.
Well, 40% enough.
Then, assuming David gives the firm a clean bill, and the technical report's sound, and Mr. Shannon's made full disclosure of the future trading position, it'll do. Oh, you've done a good job.
From you, that's a knighthood. Salutes from the frozen north.
Hello, David.
Hello, Andy. Thank you, Andrew. Sorry to keep you so late.
Well, the best of luck with it.
I just got in. Yes. You've been quick. Well, it wasn't complicated. Your Mr. Shannon offered me a lift in his plane, but I preferred the train. It gave me time to work. How's it been going?
Oh, I'm thinking you've taken an accountancy course.
He's an odd bird, isn't he? I mean, I liked him, but there's some sort of compulsion there, as if there's a devil sitting on his back, driving him. Any idea what? Well, Monday. You know, Tom, it's a mistake to get too involved with a client. Objectivity, that's the word. The surgical approach. Your phone's going.
Yes. Frankfurt, yes, put him through. Paul, wie geht's? Was haben Sie für mich? Die Gerschel-Unternehmung. Was meinen Sie? Ich habe die Unterschrift. Der Datum? Okay. Tschüss, Paul.
They can't do it.
They have.
I've got their order.
They repudiate
Well,
it.
your office got it wrong.
They don't make mistakes.
I've got their order. You've seen it. You've got a copy. It's signed by their chief buyer, Muller.
And it seems that Herr Muller has gone away on holiday politely and permanently. Our office say he was taking bribes, was he?
How the hell do I know? He's an officer of the firm. They can't do it.
Also, that Gerschel wrote to you about it, cancelling the order. I'd like to see it, Harry. For reasons which we are sure you fully appreciate, we are rescinding the order. They're saying you gave them a kickback.
How the hell would I know? Here's one of their heads. Now what do you want me to do, put detectives on him? I made the sale. He signed the letter.
Yes, 25,000 meters. You sold me on that, chum. May the 11th. You had this when I was here 3 nights ago. No wonder you had the cramp.
Well, I was going to. I had to go up north, didn't I? I thought I could fix it. Look, I put my lawyers onto it. They can't prove anything. It's just a cheap trick to lower the price. I won't get away with it.
I'm dropping you, Harry. You tried to make a mug out of me. You poor idiot. Didn't you realize you could have shown me that letter? You could have trusted me. I was on your side.
I tell you, I'm going to hold them to the order.
Do that. You're going to need it.
All right! I knew it was bent. You have to do it. I had to get that order. I mean, how the hell do you know how it's done? You read your figures, profits, sales. I'm the one who makes it for you. I make the money. Down there in the mud grubbing for it.
Well, maybe we're both in the wrong spot.
You'd better take something, hadn't you? I'm going out. I don't know when I'll be back. I might be late. I heard what he said. Poor old Harry. You're a real old chancer, aren't you? But you knew, love. You knew what would happen if you lost.
This was for you. Where are you going?
You know that, too.
Get out. Get out before I kill you!
Admitted all this, did he?
Eventually.
Well, not much difference, I suppose, between a discreet envelope handed over in a bar and a blatant dozen of whiskey at Christmas. They're both accepted lubricants of industry.
I don't give a damn how he got that order. He tried to make a chump out of me.
Constructively.
And what does that mean?
Without direct intent. A constructive chump. You can still pull this off, you know. I don't think Gershol can make this cancellation order stick. Their letter was a try-on. They've no proof.
I really don't know what you're trying to tell me, Gerald. You've dropped men for a whisper of that.
Well, I only wanted to make sure of your reason for dropping Shannon. Whether it was this, or because he'd hidden it from you, or because you had an idea that David had reported unfavorably on Shannon's firm.
David.
Well, it could have been a convenient excuse for cold feet.
Well, that's a beauty coming from you, Gerald. I haven't even seen David's report, but I can damn well guess what's in it. I know the way you briefed him.
And do you suggest I told David to report unfavorably?
Yes, I do. Do you think I don't know the way you were stacking the cards?
Why?
Because you don't like a challenge. You put me way out on a limb so you could shake me off the tree if this turned out a porridge. Well, I'll tell you this. I wouldn't have given a damn what was in David's report if, in my own mind, I thought that Harry Shannon was worth backing.
Good. That's what I wanted to know. This is David's report. It's very thorough, as I asked. But his conclusion is that Shannon's firm is sound. In his view, Shannon's not only a good manager, he's exceptional. I also gather that the technical assessment is likely to be very favorable. In sum, depending, of course, on your personal judgment of the man, he backs the merger. Of course, it's not all roses. Your man's a bit of a buccaneer. I mean, look, he's at odds with his own trade organization, undercutting, snatching business. He's even pinched some of his rivals' best designers, and he takes the most hair-raising risks. But all in all, just the sort of chap who might have got us off the hook with Grimbolds.
Just what are you trying to tell me to do?
My dear Tom, this was always your decision. I promised you that. Remember? And you're quite right, of course. He's broken the rules. But what's that Latin tag they always have in contracts? Uberima fides, absolute good faith. Without that, where are we? All the same, I wonder just how many of those 1,200 redundant men and women up in Casby know Latin.
You've seen Joe? Yes. Then I expect you know what's in that. My report. I dropped in to leave it. Well, you must be feeling very pleased with yourself.
Oh, great. Listen, you had this in your hands all set up. You knew that Gerald wanted you to put in a thumbs down on Shannon?
Oh, I got the idea. I expect you have by now. This was supposed to be Gerald's little test piece for you, a trial of nerve. I wasn't playing.
Why not? You couldn't lose. And it was what Gerald wanted. And if the deal had turned sour, you'd be on record against it.
Oh, you're getting the hang of things, aren't you? But you missed a point, and so did Gerald. I'm a professional. I go by the figures. They tell me what to say, not you, or Gerald, or the man in the moon. The figures happen to say that you were right. Well, I wish you luck with your carpet maker. Oh, and by the way, did you ever find out what that devil was?
Yes. He wants to make $1 million.
There are worse ambitions.
Chump.
Shannon.
Harry.